Hey, good morning, brother. How you doing today, man?
So far, so good, man. Been up since 5, so feels like it's middle of the day for me, but it's not even close to that.
No kidding, man. No kidding. I've never been a morning person, honestly. Like even to this day, I've been making it a habit of getting up super early in the morning. But you bring up a very very good point in that, man, does that sense of productivity really hit? Hey.
It really does, but I'm just like you, Trav. I've like my grandparents on my dad's side, they were like when I was in high school, like I could call them literally if it was 2 a.m. and I had a question about like math or history or whatever, and they just lived across town from me. I could literally call and know for a fact my grandpa was going to be up till 3 a.m. and they were night owls, so like that kind of got instilled in us like as you know as young adults. I was like, oh yeah, I love staying up late. Now if I had to get up for something like basketball practice or like I had something going on, then I could get up, but if I had nothing to do on Saturday or Sunday, I'm sleeping my ass in. So I'm just like you, bro. I'm just like you. So yeah, as an adult now, like if I have something to do, I'll get up, but I don't even think I could sleep past on my own past 9 anymore if I wanted to, but I'm not a morning person either, man, just like you.
Oh, crazy, man. Everything you're saying, well, about the actual like habits, hit. Like, I think we're basically the same person in that regard. It's hilarious, man. But that's so cool that you have that relationship with your grandfather as well. That you know that you can call them up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and that they'll just be up and out. Like that's a pretty sweet story to hear. I love the sound of that.
Thanks, Trev. Yeah, it's like if it was 3, it's like okay, before 3 they're up, but if it's like after 3, you're kind of pushing it. Like 2 a.m. was like 100% they're up, you know. So it was cool though because he was pretty knowledgeable about a lot of things. So I used I kind of leaned on him, especially in high school, whenever I had a question about anything. But yeah, so it was awesome to grow up just across town from them. I got to see him all the time. So yeah, it's cool.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you sharing that. That's really cool.
Of course,
Yeah,
man.
just one of those uplifting stories. I love hearing stories of family who just kind of have that next level connection. I don't know if it's just kind of my own experiences or just my line of work in the past, but it's a lot more rare than you realize, having people dedicate, like, have just such a strong bond between one another. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, to me it's so uplifting to hear that, and yeah, couldn't be happier for you that you've got that going on, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, no, I think I realized as a like especially in high school, I realized that wait a second, like half my friends have their grandparents either across the country or like in another part of the state, and I was like, I think I realized as like a 14 or 15-year old, like wow, I'm pretty lucky to have both sets of grandparents within a 10-minute drive from my house. So like yeah, I didn't growing up, I just thought it was normal to have them really close, but then I realized as I got a little bit older, like wow, this is actually something really special. So yeah, you're 100% correct, bro.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I love to hear it. That's this is one of the things I do enjoy about CT is just getting everyone's personal story, getting to meet them on a personal level. So yeah, dude, I appreciate you sharing that. But Quantic, welcome, my friend. Happy to have you up here. This is we're doing things a little different this week, guys. I'm trying to host it on my account, and it's a different vibe. I'm not gonna lie, it's different. I feel like I'm not being sheltered by Quantic's amazing presence here on CT. I feel like I'm sprouting my own wings and flying out the nest here a little bit. But hey, let's talk about empowerment. Quantic, how are you, my friend? Might be having some technical difficulties here, but we will give it some time. In the meantime, I'm going to post up the charts that I have for today, and we'll get going on that pretty soon. But we will wait a little bit longer for people to show up. Also, I've just to kind of let everyone know ahead of time, I've been in contact with Paul this morning. He's got a ton on his plate. He's probably going to be a bit late today, but we're not gonna stress him about that. He's an awesome guy. He's doing awesome work in the space. So when he'll get here when he gets here. But yeah, in the meantime. The last thing I want to do is shill. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If you feel so inclined to just share out our space, maybe try to get a little bit more people in here. But if not, then don't even worry about it. So yeah, no, I appreciate all you guys. We'll get started here very soon.
What's going on, Louise, Rascal, and Jeannie? Hope you guys are doing good this morning.
Excellent. Yeah, no, Cyber Genie, my friend. Great to see you here as per usual. Your presence always uplifts our spaces to the next level. Louise, hey, my friend. I know we've been getting to chat a little bit more these days on CT, so pleasure to have you as well. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Rascal. So awesome seeing you here, my friend. Truly appreciate you you showing up and hanging out with us today. You guys are all more than welcome to come jump up and hang out with us and give your take if you'd like anytime. So feel free to just put it in a request, raise your hand, any of those things. We'll get it going here for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna send out a tweet here shortly about getting more people on.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, it means a lot, but never any stress. I know there's as in my journey of becoming a Spaces host, definitely, you jump into a whole bunch of other spaces here and there, kind of get a sense of how other people work. That one kind of drives me nuts when people incessantly request and pressure their audience to share, to retweet, to like and stuff like that. To each their own. First of all, that's I know there's a time and a place for it. They're obviously a heck of a lot more successful than we are. But that doesn't really fit with the vibe that I'm trying to create here. So it will always be a completely personal option, and there'll be no stress either way, whether that's something that you guys want to do or not. Excellent. We've got Buckeye here, my friend. Yeah, pleasure to have you. Awesome. It's I know we've been getting to know each other a little bit more here on CT the last little while. Truly appreciate you being here, my friend, and showing up and showing your support. Like I've said to everyone else, more than welcome to jump up here anytime. We like to kind of run things with kind of open dialogue concept where people can kind of come up and share their experiences, share their insight and their takes. That invitation is always going to be on the table. We are going to wait a little bit longer, probably another few minutes here. Quantic is having some technical difficulties, so we're going to give him a couple more minutes. It's all good, my friend. Hey, no stress. We'll get this sorted here. What I'm thinking the plan will be, if you can't get it sorted there, Quantic, is I'll get started on the charts, the weekly analysis for the main commodities that we've got going on here. And hopefully by that time, things will get sorted on your end. But Quantic, I know what works often is if you log out and log back in, just do a complete hard reset, leave the spaces, close Twitter, come back on. It should be able to work. It's definitely a pain, but I know spaces have been having a lot of issues these days, and it's not just us. It's spaces on a universal scale, apparently. So no stress, my friend. We'll get things going here. Also, Kringo, I'm not sure if that's how you spell your name, or say your name, but thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Great to have you up here. This is awesome. I love to see new faces here. This is wonderful. So appreciate you having. Oh, and we've got Mikey, my man. Thank you so much for joining us today, brother. I see you in the work you do out there. You're putting out awesome stuff and you're creating an awesome vibe. So appreciate having you here with us, my friend. This is awesome. We're going to give it 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to get started on the my weekly analysis for. I usually do we start off the spaces. Let me just start off by doing a kind of a 10-15 minute review on where the main cryptocurrencies are. So I usually cover Bitcoin. Excuse me. Let me just take a sip of coffee and try that sentence again. Holy smokes. There we go. Fueled and ready to go here. So yeah, we start off by taking a look at Bitcoin and then Ethereum and Solana. And I've just started kind of doing my predictions on where we might see price going over the next week and kind of see how that goes. I kind of like to, what am I trying to say here? It's obviously never financial advice. I'll start off by saying that this is all just coming from my pure fascination by how charts work and everything that I've learned. I enjoy sharing that with you guys. But everyone else is also more than welcome to come share their takes on any of these or ask any questions. One of the reasons I do this is purely for educational purposes. I think there's a tremendous amount of value involved in people all over CT learning about the fundamentals of how to read charts and to make informed decisions when they make their trades. I'm going to get started. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to get started right now. Yeah, it's been a couple of minutes, so we'll get started here. Amaya, so great to see you here, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us today. Absolute pleasure as always. I know we've been able to connect before on some spaces, and it's just you're always add such a valuable take to the topics that we're talking about. So thanks so much for being here, my friend. Perfect, guys. So let's get started on the technical analysis here. I've pinned up the charts that I'm looking at the top of the spaces here, so you guys can refer to those if you'd like. So first, I'm going to start off with the Bitcoin on the daily chart. So we've definitely had a eventful week last week. We've had a nice big jump from that monthly pivot that we can see there, and it's an indicator that I just started using last week. Trying to kind of add something new to the charts every week just to kind of shake things up a little bit. But there's a couple of main things that I want to point out today. The first thing is that last jump, we actually created a new high. So we broke the $25,000 level and we topped up at about 25,000. I think it was almost 300, which is huge. It's hugely, like, what an awesome jump. I definitely did not see that coming, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a retracement here. But we've created a new high. So we've established that uptrend. Couple of things to note. This big red rectangle here, that is a very, very strong order block and very strong resistance level that we can see starts all the way back in August. So that one has proven to be extremely powerful over this time here, and it continues to do so. Also, we can see the weekly simple moving averages. We've got the 200 and the 50 here that have officially crossed. And that is typically a bearish sign, but these are lagging indicators. So this is not always a bearish sign. So just something to keep in mind there. Also, they're both acting as some pretty solid resistance right now. So not only do the moving averages kind of give an idea of directional bias, but they can also act as dynamic support and resistance levels. And at this point here, they have certainly acted as some solid resistance here. Perfect, Quantic. I see you here. Let's try and get you back up here. Hopefully this works. So some things to note. We've got that monthly pivot that we're still well on top of and looking super strong as support. We've got that really, really strong bearish order block on top. So here's what I'm thinking for next week. If we can get through this bearish order block, I can see us hitting that yellow line that I put up. And if we can break through that, I can see us consolidating just above that in that next little volume area, just above that. So if we can break through that, there's a lot of room to go. Whether we will do that, I am not sure. I'm still thinking we likely will not at this point. So I can see us kind of retracing back into, you can see I wrote down the bearish target on the right-hand side down low. I can see us heading back down into that area where we may consolidate a little bit longer. Before I proceed, Quantic, are you with us? Is this working now? My fingers are crossed, brother. All right, Quantic may still be having some issues here, so I will carry on. Quantic, whenever things are actually working, feel free to interrupt me, my friend. I want to hear your voice here. But in the meantime, I'll keep going. So that was the daily chart for Bitcoin. Then I also have an hourly chart with pretty much the same, a few important differences here. I've switched the moving averages from no, I thought that was Quantic. I got excited there for a second. Bruce, not to say that I'm not excited about you here. So we're good. I've switched here the moving averages to exponential moving averages, which differ from simple moving averages. They just tend to be a bit more reactive. They are a little bit tighter in terms of proximity to price action, and we can see actually how well that the price is respecting the 50 EMA. It used it as really strong support. So I'm really interested to see kind of how price continues to react around this level in the future. I've still got the monthly pivot there, which is really has been a really strong support as well. Also is a really good indication that we are staying on top of it. We can see that macro bearish order block there just holding us back. That resistance level at 25,245 is kind of the line in the sand at this point. If we can get over that, I can see a significant move, to the upside. We've got also a couple of smaller order blocks. So order blocks are formed when price kind of consolidates for a little bit and then explodes out of it in a far dynamic move. This is also can be interpreted as a supplier demand zone. So in for the bullish ones, it would be a demand zone. So when price does come back down and test it, typically there's a lot of buy orders still in that area that will help support price and keep it up. We can also see, I also have a red box inside of like a darker red box inside of that macro bearish order block. That is a fair value gap, and typically those get filled again. So I would not be surprised if price continues to go up, refill that fair value gap, and tries to test that really strong support again. And that'll be really interesting to watch, because if we can break over that, then we've got that room to run, like I was saying before. I also would not be surprised if we did break through that as a fake out move and then came back down to test the lower levels again. So just to be aware that if we do initially break that, I would wait for a strong retest and then continuation before getting into any trades. That's just me, because all of the cryptocurrencies do have that tendency of making a fake out move before the true move. So just something to kind of keep your mind on, everyone here. But yeah, my thesis stands with that one. I'm leaning a little bit more bearish at this point. But if we can break through that and hold, we've got some room to go to the upside as well. All right. Before I move to Ethereum, Quantic, are you with us, my friend? Fair enough. Hey, keep on working at it, my friend. No stress. We'll get this sorted. Hopefully, if you'll reach out to me in DMs if there's anything I can do to help you out. Also, there's a couple more faces in here. I see some awesome people. Arena, pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Angelica. Absolute pleasure as always to see you. Love having you. Love hearing your takes. Cyberspace Punk. Really appreciate having you here, my friend. I know we've kind of chatted here and there on CT, and just an absolute pleasure. I want to also throw out the invitation to all of you guys. More than welcome to come up and join our conversations at any point. We're going to get the conversation on going full time in Web3 very soon here. I'm just going to finish up these charts and then we'll get right into it. All right, so let's do Ethereum now. Here we go. So let's start off with the daily. So it's interesting. If for everyone who's kind of been here hanging out with us the last couple of weeks, in my opinion, Ethereum has always been looking the most bullish. This week, actually, you know what? I think this is the first week where I've looked at Ethereum, and I haven't. I honestly think it's probably one of the weaker ones in comparing to both of the other assets. And the reason for this, you can see that there is a line in the sand. At the top, see where I have that yellow writing where it says order block doing work? The top of that, it is just like these candles, none of them have been able to close above that line. It is a very, very clear black and white level that is just keeping price underneath. Also, we're kind of doing an ascending formation. It's not quite a wedge, but typically in bull flags, I like to see it having either. Actually, what am I trying to say here? You know what? That's not completely true. I do like to see a little bit more dramatics of higher highs, and in this, they seem to be losing steam every time price goes up. There's a much more of a dramatic push back down. So, a couple of things here. We're still on top of the monthly pivot point, acting as a really strong level of support. We've got a ton of these bearish order blocks that we're right in the thick of right now. We're definitely up above the 50% level, so that is encouraging. We're also hanging out on top of that strong volume shelf on the right-hand side. That's keeping us up here as well, so that's encouraging. We also have see this like fluorescent green level just underneath where price is at now. That is a fair value gap. Those do tend to fill. So kind of all things coming together, I do see Ethereum going down to refill those gaps before making any more attempts to the upside. Couple of interesting things here with the simple moving averages. You can see we have the 200 in dark red underneath, and then we have the 50 in the orange on top. You can see they're kind of compressing, they're kind of coming in together, and price is staying right between them. So the 200 on the bottom is acting as really strong support, whereas the 50 I anticipate is coming in and is going to act as some pretty strong resistance. So the closer those get, typically the more explosive of a move that we have out of it. So it looks like there's still some room for them to compress, but I am going to keep my eyes on those over the next little while. Let's move to the, actually, you know what, before I go, bearish, bullish, the word has just left my mind here. Predictions, there we go, predictions. Bullish predictions. We need to get up and over these bearish order blocks. If we can, we've got some room to go. But we have very, very strong resistance at the 2025 level. You can see that strong high red line that I have up there. Bearish or bullish predictions are we're going to break above that 50 simple moving average, and then we're probably going to smack our heads on that strong high that we have there, and I would imagine consolidate on top. My bearish predictions, actually, I can see us heading back down to the top of that previous volume shelf at about 1350 or so. There's if we lose kind of that range that we're trading in right now, there's a huge discrepancy in buyers and sellers. We can see that by that massive volume gap that we have on the right hand side. So I can see us going down and back to testing the 1350 area. All right, I'll try to continue this, keep this going here. Oh, excellent. We got Quantic back. Let's try this out again, my friend. Let's try this out again. All right. Fingers crossed, everyone. Let's get Quantic here with us. I'm going to keep going. Oh, there he is.
Guys,
good morning.
This has been the most... Good morning, GM to everybody. I'm so happy to be here finally. You know, I had to uninstall the application 2 times. Once we finish the space, I'm going to cancel my Blue subscription because definitely this is not worth it. I couldn't disconnect, like I couldn't leave the conversation. I had to delete the app 2 times. And every time that you send me like a host invitation, it kind of got frozen, even though I had all of the permissions. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Oh, man. Well, sorry to hear about the troubles, man. I know how stressful that is. And especially being a co-host here. I'm glad we got it sorted here. But how's your day going so far besides that?
Yeah, all good. I mean, I'm a little bit sick, so I'm a little bit with fever. So this journey, this couple of minutes was a little bit, magical, let's say. Having I feel much better now that I can hear your voice and you can hear me. And here we are with all of the rest of the amazing people that we have in this space. So you were saying, you were talking about the resistance in the ETH or Solana chart?
Yes. On Ethereum right now. I've just moved to the hourly chart on Ethereum. Yeah, and I know I'm going to be able to get through the last couple here pretty quick. Anything you wanted to add in the meantime there, Quantic, before I jump back into it?
No, please go ahead.
Perfect. So yeah, real quick here, friends. I've on the hourly chart, we are definitely in that range again that I have between the red rectangle and the green rectangle. I can definitely see us hanging out in there, testing the lower ends before trying to make a higher move as well. You can see that every time we do try and test those highs, we drop all the way back down and test the lows again. So I can definitely kind of see us continuing that trend moving forward. Also, I've switched over to the daily simple moving averages, and we can see again how strong a support that 50 in the yellow is for price. So I am also curious to see how price is going to react to that more in the future. And that's pretty much it. I've also kind of mentioned the bearish and bullish targets. I have the bullish target in purple and then the uber bullish target in the green up top. So these are kind of the levels that I'm going to be keeping an eye on moving forward here. Last and not least, we've got Solana. So Solana, not much has changed. Still, kind of, you can see that dramatic drop in increase like we've had in before or in the other two major cryptos. The one interesting thing with Solana is that it has not been making higher highs like Ethereum and Bitcoin have. But the cool thing about this one is it seems to be making a descending wedge, which typically is a bullish sign. So we do have that on our side, but we can also see how absolutely strong that $26.94 level has continuing to be. That is the line in the sand. That is what we need to break through to reach higher highs. I also have noted here that we have a weekly simple moving average cross, which is also known as a death cross, where the 50 drops below the 200. So that is definitely something to keep our eyes on. That is a bearish sign, but not always. And then we can see I have a couple of rectangles here. So the top one, that is a very bearish order block. That's going to take a tremendous amount of effort to break through. But on the bottom, we have a bit of a smaller, but not necessarily any less powerful bullish order block. And that's kind of protecting the absolute lows that we've had going back to December, January here. Same thing with the pivot, acting as really strong support. So that's on our side. As per the predictions here, I think I put them down on the hourly chart, which I'll switch over to now. I did not, but let me go through these here real quick. I've switched over the EMAs to the daily here. We can see that they're acting somewhat as some support. Price definitely seems to consolidate and it's trying to stay above it. We've got this green rectangle right in the middle, which is I just put that there just because it also seems to be a bit of a line in the sand where price, once it's below, it acts as really strong resistance, and once it's above, acts as really strong support. I've marked the descending wedge, which is bullish. So in kind of my predictions are, I can definitely see us heading back up to retest that $26.94 level. I'm not so certain if we are going to break through it, only because like just the macro picture, typically Solana does follow similarly to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if my general bias for those two is bearish, I can't really, in good conscience, have a bullish bias for Solana. But nevertheless, I do see it being. I do see a decent chance of us going to test that again. Bearish would be for sure testing the lower end of this range, so I can see it testing back to the $19 level. Uber bullish would be heading back down to the 1650 level. You can see there's that next volume shelf down there with a lot of room between, or a lot of free liquidity in the area of $16 to $20 there. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm in my personal opinion, I don't think we'll get below $19 within the next week, but I could very well be wrong. This is just my intuition telling me after some time looking at these charts here. So I think that's about it for me. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add? Feel free to request being a speaker. We'll get you up here ASAP. I see some more faces here. This is lovely. Happy to have all you guys. Hipster Roboto, absolute pleasure as always. Siri, my friend, I am saluting you in real life as we speak. Pleasure to have you, my friend. Digital Dad, also my friend. It's just awesome to see you as well as yourself there, Gabo. Much love here. I will be making sure that I follow everyone. And I know just from a personal perspective, everyone here is 100% worth engaging with and following. I've got nothing but love for everyone here. I've gotten to know everyone on a pretty good level here these days. So we've got a lot of value here with us today. Moving forward, Quantic. Let's talk about Web3 or going full time in Web3. I'll let you get things started, my friend. Where are you at?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the things that I would like to begin with is by asking people if someone can share with us, like, what is their state in Web3? Like, are you guys full-time Web3, or maybe you are trying to pivot and try to achieve that. Me personally, I am part-time in Web3, and one of my main goals is to go full-time Web3, because obviously I really love it here. I love the community, and I think that I can provide some value. But yeah, I would love to hear about the experience and the history of the rest. I don't know. What about you, Trap?
I think it's a great way to start. Let's definitely do that. I'm happy to start kind of with mine as well. While we get, I do see some people requesting here. This is wonderful news. I'll get you guys up here, and while we're doing that, I'll kind of give you guys a sense of where I'm at. Pretty much the same as you, Quantic. I'm working part-time right now. I do have a part-time position with a couple of projects right now who I'm actually pretty bullish on. I'm a community manager with them. It's just been so great working with them. They're straight into the dev components of community, or of in project development right now, which is definitely my kind of my weakness in this area. I don't come from a developing background, so it's been amazing to learn from everyone. So that's just been incredible, and they've been able to sustain their work throughout the bear market. And so just like constant learning, which has been absolutely incredible. Kind of just my big takeaway from that is, even if you are working part-time with a company, even if it's a community manager or moderator or anything, just that experience of being able to work so closely with a team and kind of learning how the ins and the outs of development happens. There's just so much value in there, and it's a great place to start, because not only do you have access to this team, typically you have more access to other projects as well. Being a community manager, it's a lot easier for me to connect with founders, with other community managers, and all of that. So it's just been a great way to kind of start my journey. Also in a similar area where I'm kind of just narrowing my focus and trying to find out what's going to work best for me moving forward. Definitely is a goal of mine to go full-time Web3. And I'm definitely looking forward to sharing kind of my perspectives with that as well. But Amaya, you are up here, and it's an absolute pleasure, my friend. I'd love to hear your experiences and hear where you're at.
Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for having me, GM. Yeah, so I actually I'm a moderator for a community that I'm a part of called Impact Theory. It's I actually follow Tom Bilyeu, which is the founder of this project, for a long time, and like a year ago, I got the chance to mint his NFT, and then they offered like a voluntary position, and I wanted to get some experience, so I applied, and I was able to get that position as a moderator, and I've been there for about 4 months. It's been a lot of learning. I love the community, and just sharing, getting to connect with amazing people there. So that's one my current position. I was actually a community manager for another project called Leveling Up Heroes. Unfortunately, the founder couldn't keep supporting the community, so they kind of paused the project, or rugged. Some people call it rugged, but yeah, he had good intentions. They just couldn't keep supporting the community. So unfortunately, I got laid off there. But I did learn a lot. And yeah, I appreciate that they gave me the chance. I got to learn, connect with a lot of people there. And I'm also now looking to just get more into a full-time position or part-time, whatever I can get. I've been looking for opportunities there, and just trying to learn from the people here as well.
I love that, man. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, really valuable experiences there. And I think you bring up a good point in the sense that bear markets are tough, man. And not all people who have to abandon their projects are doing it with cruel intentions. Simply, liquidity just runs out, and they have to make the hard call. And unfortunately, in this space, the rugging label is sticks hard, and it's very quickly and easily handed out. So I think that's something very important for us to all to kind of keep in mind. But yes, definitely something that, you all have to do your own DD and make sure that you're making informed decisions and judgments based on that. But Amaya, that's really neat, my friend. From that, can you tell us a little bit about how that affected or how that may be either enhanced? I imagine it would be enhanced. I'm just going to assume that, but kind of your connections, your networks. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Yeah, for sure. I still actually I still communicate with the founder from that project, the Leveling Up Heroes. We left in good terms. He said that maybe in the future we can work together again, and he actually has invited me to a few of in real life events that he's doing. So that's still got some value from it, and I'm like I say, I'm grateful for that chance because I just got to learn so much, and now I still have that good connection there. And then also from the impact theory, since I'm still there, I have been getting pretty like very close to the team there, which there are some amazing people that have a lot of knowledge, and I've been I still learning so much from them, and I'm maybe looking in the future to maybe get a paid position there, hopefully, but yeah. That's been my experience there in those two projects.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing, Amaya. I have another follow-up question there because what happened in your case if that doesn't happen? Like if you cannot find the job there, what are you planning to do?
Yeah, and actually, that's one of the things that they said what they when they interview me. They ask everyone if they were, if they will be disappointed if they didn't get the job, or if they will be the volunteer position, or in the future if we couldn't get a job with them, and because they're not trying to give us like they're not trying to have us with too much expectations. So I wouldn't be devastated or anything like that. I'll be perfectly fine with it, and I would just keep looking in other projects that I believe in, that I identify with, that I find the value in, which is what I'm doing now. I haven't seen like too many opportunities, but yeah, I understand the current market, and I'll just keep learning and looking as well.
Right on, Amaya. No, I appreciate that. You definitely bring up some good points. Um, I think that is definitely one thing that I would like to kind of get more into in a little bit, and that is the value in waiting for the right opportunity and to truly make sure that you don't just jump on the first one that's thrown out at you. I've definitely heard a lot of horror stories. Especially, like I think one of the worst ones that I've heard, and I'm going to share it real quick because it's definitely important as kind of like a public service announcement here. But a really good friend of mine, he had got a job as a community manager with this seemingly up and coming project, the NFT project that was starting to launch. Everything started off fine. He did his own DD. Everything checked out. But eventually red flags started to pop up. And long story short, basically what the founders were trying to do is their intentions all along were to rug. And they wanted to save their faces by basically making my friend the face of the project so that any backlash, any downfall of them rugging, basically running away with with the funds that everyone had given from Mint, that any of that backlash would fall on my friend. Thankfully, he did his own, like he followed his instinct and he did his own due diligence to the point where he was actually he took a look at previous transactions on the founder's wallet and just saw so many red flags pop up. The guy was definitely doing some shady things, definitely trying to cover up his tracks. Thankfully made the decision to just, abandon ship. And thankfully he did, because the project sunk very, very quickly afterwards. I think that the main takeaway from that is make sure you're following your instinct one way or another. Definitely do your own due diligence. And there are legitimate consequences for jumping on the team and blindly, following founders and believing their intentions here, to the point where his whole entire reputation could have been squashed and he would have had to start all over. And he had an amazing following behind him and an amazing community that he was building. In the end, it was a success story because he ended up being able to refocus on his own project, and now he's doing fantastic. But that's purely thanks to him following his intuition. Bit of a tangent there, but I appreciate you kind of sparking that story here. Quantic, I want to hand it back to you here real quick. I know you asked the question, so I want to give you the chance to follow up.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to share that. Okay, usually when I have this experience as project founder, okay, I have worked with a lot of moderators and community managers within my project, and 100% of them, listen to this stat, 100% of them had been rocked by projects. And in all of these cases, the red flags are common. One of them is that the founders are not doxed. Another one is that the Discord and the Twitter is both, right? Has plenty of fake followers and things like that. And of course, what can you expect from that? Like, I know that we all want to get a job in Web3 and we all want to get paid and we all have to start from somewhere. However, it is quite likely that if you find these red flags, you're going to get rocked sooner or later. So just for the people that are listening out there, if you are like trying to start this way, because it's the easiest one, like finding a job as a moderator or as a collab manager, be aware of these red flags, and just don't get involved if that's the situation, because in the end, you're going to end up wasting your own time and maybe even your reputation.
Awesome, Quantic. I think it's really strong and really important that we're starting off with this. Definitely need to be aware of the consequences of joining up with the wrong crew, and that's really important. To anyone who wasn't here last week, Paulo shared some other red flags that I think are important at this point to share again. Some of the other ones that he mentioned were project founders that don't deliver like a professional contract. That one's really important. And then also founders that aren't transparent or just don't answer questions directly. Also, huge red flag. And there was one more, and it was an important one. And what was it? Yes. Founders that agree to pay you. And you guys agree on a set salary or whatever that might look like. And then having frequent issues with actually trying to, actually get paid, having to follow up with the founder frequently, late payments. Typically that is a sign of, something a little bit more insidious happening underneath the scenes. But Amaya, I see your hand up there. I'd love to hear back from you.
Thanks, Trav. I just wanted to add that sometimes we do see the red flags and we just ignore them, or we just don't want to start a conflict or something like that. I would just say try not to ignore them. Usually, when you see some red flags, you might be most of the time you might be correct on your gut feeling. And the other thing I wanted to add, it's on reference to when you're applying or trying to get in a job. Something that I learned from this founder from Leveling Up Heroes is that sometimes you have to put in the work first, and you don't have to get paid. You can just volunteer or just prove to them that you can do the job, and it might take some time, but at the end it will be rewarding, and it will be worth it if you put in the time and show that you're the right person for that position and that you can provide value. So just wanted to add that to the conversation.
Amazing points. Oh man, no, truly, I'm really glad that you brought both of those up. In the sense that kind of feeding off the first point that you brought up about following your instinct and actually bringing it up from every single founder, or even in real life, even in Web2 jobs. If the founder truly has good intentions, they will want that feedback, knowing that actions that they're doing could be interpreted as red flags. So you're going to have one of two scenarios. You'll either have the rugger who is going to push back and kind of give you some crap, and that in itself will be telling, or you'll have a founder with good intentions who would actually be receptive to the information, and then that in the end will also have a positive outcome for both of you guys. That might be a little black and white. I'm sure there's some gray area in between there, but amazing point. And then also the point you bring up of doing the work and kind of making a name for yourself in the community. I certainly as well can speak to that. Going above and beyond, giving it your 100% will show not only the founders that you're dedicated, but also the community members. And let me tell you, by doing that in my own personal experience, you almost gain more value for your own potential and opportunity wise by developing those connections with your community. It's just incredible. Like some of the most amazing leads that I've now gained and some of the most amazing connections have been made with my community by showing up every day, by going above and beyond. That shows them just as much as it shows the founders. So that's a tremendous piece of advice there, Amaya. I'm really happy that you brought that up. And that as well can be translated outside into the Web 2 world as well. But we're going to stick to Web 3 for now. And it's all about connections. It's all about finding that opportunity and working towards it. So amazing point. All right. I see Cyberspace Punk. You are up here with us. And I just wanted to quickly acknowledge that you're here, say hello. Thank you for coming up to join us. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of speak your mind and share your experience if you're feeling up to it.
Sure thing. How's everyone doing?
GM.
GM.
Yeah, good morning, brother. Yeah, doing really well, man. Off to a good start today.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of following crypto for a long time, but I started thinking about pivoting into Web3 like professionally during the lockdowns in the UK. So that was 2020, 2021. And I had a lot of time on my hands, and I thought, well, there's no better opportunity than this just to do basically like a personal crash course on everything crypto. So I did that, and it took me until I built up a network on LinkedIn and started writing. I'm a sort of like media communications, corporate writing, corporate journalist kind of background. So I came in kind of thinking the best thing to do is to try and leverage my existing skills and couple them to whatever a growing knowledge of Web3 and blockchain, etc. But it took me until last October. So I went full time last October, which with hindsight is probably very bad timing. But it's been a roller coaster, and I totally relate to all the talk of rug pulls and moving goalposts and everything. I've had my own fair share of problems with many of these issues, and I'm currently waiting to get paid for January. And when you're so, and I'm thinking, is there a liquidity crunch? What are the problems? I don't want to talk right at this point about the specific project, but I just definitely relate to all of that stuff. Plus, then on the positive side, you have to be in the flow and in the mix to be able to make the contacts and learn. You learn through doing more than through reading or watching or listening. And that includes, if you want to know about NFTs, it's much better to get in the trenches and actually start figuring out what a hot wallet is and how to buy NFTs and all the rest of it. You never really know until you do it. And I think the same is true for any sort of paid for kind of discipline. And then the other side of things, as well as just gaining experience, that I have noticed is that lots more doors start to open for you once you're actually involved in the space and interacting with other people. Like as a result of this slightly dodgy project that I've been involved in, I've actually wound up somehow growing my network into Israeli crypto companies based in Tel Aviv, and I've had some really interesting conversations, with people who are involved in bringing sort of, for example, enterprise grade cybersecurity into the Web3 space, so that people can figure out what's going on with smart contract exploits and DeFi and NFT collections and all the rest of it. So, I know some of these projects are going to fly, and I feel even if I've taken a few knocks along the way, I've actually I'm in a much better position now, 6 months down the line, than I was when I first started. So that's really how I'm seeing it. But you've definitely got to watch out for those red flags, for sure.
Oh man, no kidding, no kidding. Wow, lots to dig into there, and let's get started right now. First of all, really appreciate you sharing your story, my friend. I love to hear it. I think a lot of people here can relate to kind of your journey and what you're bringing to the table here today. One thing I'd just like to kind of start off by pointing out is that I appreciate we're approaching this topic today not from like we did last week, where we spoke about growing your Twitter community and leveraging that. We're talking about directly getting into the trenches and getting a job with a company and then going from there. So I'm really appreciate how we're kind of differentiating our thought process from last week. I think you brought up an amazing point, first of all, by leveraging your current skills. Angeliki brought that up last week, and it's just definitely one of the most potent ways you can actually get started in this space, by taking a moment, identifying what skills you have, what skills you bring to the table, and then starting off by pursuing those, assuming that resonates with you. You know what I mean? There's also the point about going down paths which you connect with on an emotional level. You'll just be a lot more efficient and present and consistent in pursuing those paths, which was also another amazing point brought up by Angeliki last week. So definitely respect to you. But if I can ask you, Cyberspace, what sort of position did you take with this community? And actually, before I do that, I also just want to kind of send my best wishes to you. I really hope that this works out in the end for you. It is super stressful to have these sort of conflicts with projects and just with work in general. So apologies to hear that, my friend, and definitely reach out to any of us if we can be of any help. DMs are always open. But I will kind of defer that question back to you, of if you can shed us a little bit more light on the position that you took, and then a little bit about what that was like for you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the position was basically quite open-ended, but it's to do with copywriting for a crypto startup project. So, the brief might be sort of on the branded content side of things, where you're writing educational pieces about blockchain technology, and that's a way for the brand to engagement farm in a way, I guess, by providing helpful content. And then you might also be writing Twitter campaigns, or what they call leadership communications, which is more to do with posts for the senior management, if they want to write something on LinkedIn and they don't have enough time to do it for themselves. So that kind of thing. So it's been a huge experience, because it's been so so multifaceted, and that's great. I mean, one thing I would think about looking back on it is to be clearer about the kinds of companies. If it's rather than an NFT collection or a really sort of like native Web3 project, but you're actually looking at working in crypto and Web3, and you're wondering, what kinds of companies you might want to work for. I mean, there's that classic question of, do you want to work freelance or do you want to work full time? If you're working freelance, you've got more flexibility. You can probably be 100% remote. You can sort of choose your own calendar. You can chop and change projects until you find one that you really gel with. But on the flip side, you're not getting a pension. You're not getting medical cover. You're not getting holiday pay. You're not getting a proper contract, etc., etc., etc. And then, so the flip side, if you want to work in Web3 and you want some more of those kind of commitments, then you need to really say, okay, well, do I want to work with Binance? Do I want to work with some of the layer ones or the layer twos? Do I want to work for a metaverse project, et cetera, et cetera? So there might be a more kind of structured approach to take if you want to find work in Web3 to try and identify exactly what you're looking for in the first place.
I'm sitting here writing notes like an absolute machine. I'm loving everything you're bringing to the table. To be honest with you, this is a really interesting take. But that's definitely one that I would love to actually talk about a little bit more is freelance versus full-time. I think there's a lot of value in there that we can dig into and try and tease out. I guess I'm trying to think of where an appropriate place to start might be. First of all, actually, I just kind of want to acknowledge what you said, and yeah, just appreciate you bringing that up. There certainly is, the pros and cons, and it's going to be a balance that everyone has to kind of evaluate and bring to the table to see what's going to work best for them. But certainly, the freelance versus full-time work is, a very important part that you need to take into consideration if you're doing this for longevity. And I think a lot of people, from my experience anyways, come to this thinking very short term, because that's the kind of the mindset you have to think of when you're keeping your eyes open for opportunity and trying to see what's in front of you. But I do love that you're bringing this topic to the table where taking a bit more of a structured approach, a more professional approach, and looking at it as the long term. There are many opportunities out there that if you were to get in, it could be for, the long haul. Like you could look at it as a career. And I guess for many of us, that is the ultimate goal, to make this, a tangible way to live your life. So where to start? I'm curious actually to kind of dig a little bit more into the full-time components, like looking towards the layer 1, layer 2 contracts, working with like a centralized platform like Binance. Cyrus Bitspunk, do you? I was wondering.
Just one question, Trav.
Yeah.
It's just that I was wondering if, in your case, Cyberspace Punk, did they handle a contract with you?
Yeah, so I had a 3-month contract, which expired at the end of December, and I think, and I went to try and renew it, and nothing happened. But I think there are a few things to unpick here, and I think Trav, you mentioned it in passing earlier on, which is that not all rugs are rugs. It's like you have to give people a bit of space for being human beings, and I think a lot of these kinds of situations can come down to a mixture of kind of mismanagement and magical thinking, and a lot of people in the crypto space don't have any business experience, so you've got people who devise an idea that gets funded, and then they're the CEO and the CMO and the CTO, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like that can cause problems as well. I don't know if that was answering your question.
Yeah, no, totally. I was just trying to correlate, like, when did things start to get shady with the contract situation, Because if there is a contract, in principle, there could be legal implications. But I also don't know how does it work from that point of view when you're working with people that are from other continent. Like, I don't know how contracts work. Like, what can you do if you're in a different continent? How does the law apply?
Right. I mean, I don't know any of that. I think if you're working internationally with people, and the contracts are kind of not crystal clear, then you're probably in danger of running the risk of working for a month without getting paid at some point. So I mean, one way you can protect yourself from that, and I know people whose services are sought after who will do this. They will refuse to work without getting paid a month in advance, or they will ask to be met somewhere in the middle in terms of the timescales through which they get paid. So that's another possibility. But it's clearly really important to trust the management team, trust the project, maybe to look at how it's been financed and who else is involved, whether there are VC backers, whether it looks like a solid project, or if you research the information and look on the website, you kind of think, well, it could be a bit of a kind of a cutout. If you get those signals, then maybe it's better to look for something a bit more solid. But I would say that, I looked at this job when I took it, and I could have turned it down, but I concluded that the opportunity cost of not doing it was greater than the opportunity cost of doing it. And actually, I still believe that now, even though I may have been ripped off. So, because you have to get in the water, basically, that's the point. So the opportunity cost so that is to say, if you think you're worth 50 grand or 100 grand, or you've got some idea of what the perfect job you have in mind for yourself is, but you see something that doesn't tick all of those boxes, don't necessarily turn it down, because it's a stepping stone, and then suddenly you'll get to where you want to go to. So that's the other thing I would say.
Yeah, 100% agree there. This is something that actually happens in Web2 as well, right? Like you start by taking a position that maybe is not ideal, it's not the best payment and everything, but you move forward from there, right? Because essentially the most important thing is to break the barrier of the first job or the first two jobs to acquire some experience that you can then prove and show to apply to other jobs.
Totally, yeah, you nailed it.
I love it. That's very important topics again that are very, very different from the conversation that we've had previously, and I'm loving the path that this conversation is taking. All right, yeah, we have Angeliki up here. Appreciate you joining us today, Angeliki. I would love to hear your take on the conversation that we're having at the moment.
Hi, Trav. So you must know how much I love you guys, because I'm at a birthday and I'm about to get in the car to have a chat about this topic that I love so much.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. I just need to jump in there real quick and acknowledge how awesome that is. Wow. Angeliki, we love you so much. That is incredible. Taking time out of a party of all places. That's the ultimate grass touch right there. And you're joining us with a bit of a timeout to come hang out with us. This is awesome. Really appreciate you. Everyone needs to give Angeliki your full support. She is a legend of the space. So the mic's yours.
Thanks. No, I had my AirPod in while like eating crab and like cracking the crab and being like kind of antisocial, but pretending that I'm like not being antisocial. But so some of the like topics I didn't get like the full gist of it. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating anything, but just like going into like Web3 and people wanting to go full time into Web3, I think people are realizing that underneath the J.
I think we're having some technical difficulties. Angeliki, you've been muted somehow. There we go.
Sorry, I think my call connected to my Bluetooth. I'm so sorry. What did you catch last?
Not much. I got the crab and how amazing that sounded. And then you were just, I think you were just getting into your points. You were just finished kind of acknowledging what we had been talking about, and then you were just kind of getting into your own take.
Sorry guys, sorry about that. No, so
no stress.
What I was saying is I think Web2 companies are realizing that underneath the JPEGs and collectibles and overall hype lies a powerful piece of technology, and that NFTs can help drive brand awareness and enhance like customer loyalty and monetize like user bases. And you just have with marketing just that close connection with your customers more when it comes to NFT, and that you have that digital receipt and history of who's actually the loyal and who invests more in what you're building. And I mean, NFTs can make membership programs more consequential for customers. So what I was going to say is, and I think I said it in the previous spaces, is people normally think going full-time Web3 would be being a community manager, building your own NFT project. But you can think of it in so many other ways. For example, look how ticketing systems are working currently. What celebrities are doing is they are selling tickets as NFTs, and it cuts out that middleman, so they get direct royalties, and it also makes like the secondary sales less scammy, as I can put it like that. Like you know that you not buying a fake ticket, you know what you're getting, and they can earn royalties on secondary sales as well. Whew, I'm out of breath. And then what that can do as well is just become like, as we've seen, like a collectible item, something that has historical value over time. So for example, owning a crypto bats from Ozzy Osbourne, over time that will become more valuable, touch wood, if he passes away or whatever. Yeah, and I think it just makes membership more loyal to what we're seeing now currently in the market. Early access, exclusive fan clubs, celebrities, live performances, all of that just becomes. I have my friends waving at me from the balcony, so I'm so distracted. But I hope what I said made sense. So you could take the ticket if you want to go into Web3, you could be a ticketing service system for celebrities and companies that want to sell and do performances through ticketing. You could do that for them and create that for them. You could have a marketing agency, you could have a consulting agency. There are so many things that you can do in Web3 that you have so many options to do in Web3 that's beyond just being a project founder, a community manager, or a mod. But it's good to start from the bottom to know. I think I was saying to Bruce, I own a few businesses, and it's so weird for me because it was weird for me to listen to a 20-year-old telling me what to do as a moderator. But I put myself in that position to be a moderator. Whatever you do, you start from the bottom so that you know every aspect of whatever you're going into. So for me to start as a moderator was extremely important. Then move up as a community manager. Then move up once I understood the space a bit better as marketing. Now I'm advising Africa's biggest metaverse. But it's taken nearly 2 years of just starting from the bottom. Don't try and jump into the deep end. This space is so crazy. And as beautiful as it is, it can be brutal. And just honest advice, and it might not take as long as what it's taken me, but just start from the bottom, take in as much as you can. Your time in the space is precious. If you're listening to Twitter spaces, listen to a Twitter space like this where Trav has really good advice. He gets speakers on that will guide you in the right direction and connects people. And I've only, from like the 3 spaces that I've joined so far, met the most amazing people, and that is what's important, like building those connections. And that's my 2 cents. Sorry.
Oh, you say 2 cents, I say $1 million. Like,
Yeah, I say the same.
oh man, yeah, Angeliki, thank you so much for taking the time. Like, you brought such solid points to the table here today. First of all, I want to start by saying what an amazing idea of, the most potent thing I think that you mentioned that it's probably the most applicable to everyone here is to start from the bottom, learn the lay of the land, start growing your community, start growing your network, start building your skills, but also just learning about the environment and learning, what it takes to be a good founder, what it might take to be, positive and negative skills, if that makes any sense. Learn from the tough lessons as well. But also the biggest and juiciest piece of alpha that you brought us today is that the fact that there's so many opportunities outside of being a moderator, outside of being a community manager. And this is what I was really hoping we would get at during this space today we're just starting to take a glance into the ultimate potential of working full-time in Web3. And what an amazing glimpse as to starting with some of those possibilities. I don't want to keep you because I know you have a party and you definitely need to be enjoying, real life as much as you are spending time with us. I don't want to be completely selfish and hoard you, although honestly, I really, really do because this is awesome. But any tips on how someone might be able to get started on doing something like opening a ticket system for, a band or a comedian or a local band, or any idea what it might take? Like, is someone able to do that on their own? Would they require a team? Just a little bit more meat off the bone, if we can. If there's anything else you can kind of tell us about that, because that sounds pretty amazing.
I would just say having the knowledge in the space. I don't think you need to know much more than that. An NFT already is basically a ticketing system into whatever the project is, if you look at it from that perspective. So for me, study the market, like I've said before, marketing in Web3 is a whole other ball game. And we've seen Web2 companies make the mistake over and over again by trying to do it the Web2 way. They take they don't take community into consideration at all. And for me, what's important is just having the right people around you, like team members. You need to have people around you that care as much about your project as you would, that's devoted to what they're doing. I don't think you would need a big team to start something like that. Just know the market, know with ticketing, I don't even know how you would get into that, but that was just something where my mind went to, like listening to Kevin Hart here in South Africa selling his tickets through NFTs for like 18,000 Rand a ticket. And I mean, they're selling as NFTs. But that is something, if somebody has experience in building experience maybe in the entertainment industry in NFTs, I would just say have enough knowledge in the space about NFTs, how you would market it. Alpha that I would give, and is probably not alpha to most of you, is learn how to read contracts. For me, that's the most important thing in Web3, is learning how to read contracts. That would be the first thing I would tell anybody to do. Do a short course, learn how to do contracts. I've done 3 courses in the space, and the most important thing I've ever learned is just learning how to read contracts. Just the technical side of all of it, I would say, would be the most important. But NFTs are already kind of a ticketing system. You could easily build an app that could load all of that, and I don't even know where you would actually go with that. If you've got experience in the entertainment industry, please come up and just talk about it. But yeah, that's what I would say, Trav. Sorry, I wasn't really helpful over there with that one.
Oh, no. You were definitely more helpful than you let on here. If I could just make one quick distinction here, when you say learn how to read contracts, are you talking about smart contracts or physical contracts that you would make with a founder?
Oh, both is important, but I meant smart contracts. But definitely get the legal side of things sorted. Like I've learned, so I was a part of a project where for 8 months they didn't pay me. Eventually my lawyer got involved. I knew the law behind all of it, but even knowing the law behind NFTs, just the basis of everything, where it was like contracts with founders, smart contracts, all of those things are extremely, don't be naive in the space, because scammers are so clever. The space can be brutal, and just get your ducks in a row and you can fly. And it doesn't take long to learn these things. Knowledge is at your fingertips. Literally, you're holding it in your hand right now. Like, the world's your oyster in this space. So grab it. I mean, you guys are early. You can do this. There's such an. Do you know what I loved seeing? For example, I get invited to Milan Fashion Week. Often you don't get front row seats, you don't get second, third, whatever, no matter how much of a fan you are or a supporter you are of the brand. Now, like Philip Plain has brought out an NFT. He's rewarding his NFT holders with front row seats. Those are your true supporters. Those are that's brand loyalty. And I love just seeing true fans sitting front row at Fashion Week. This is what the NFT space has brought to consumerism, to Web2. It's beautiful to watch, and it's going to grow, trust me, and you want to get in it now.
Sorry, Quantic, I see you've been trying to speak here for a bit. The mic is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I just wanted to add here, like my 2 cents, because, okay, with Bright NFT, we are in a couple of startups, programs or platforms, whatever you want to call it. And we have been invited in more than one occasion to join programs of innovation using these technologies. So how does this work? So companies, Web2 companies, don't have any idea about how to use NFTs, but they see that other large brands like, for instance, Starbucks or Nike are doing it. So they wonder, okay, how can you help me engage more my community or boost my business using these technologies? And I think that that is a very powerful niche that will only grow because eventually all of these business are going to need implement these technologies, because otherwise they are going to be left behind. This is a kind of digital transformation 3.0, if you want. So I would encourage everybody here, just like Angeliki did, to learn how to read smart contracts. It's not really super complicated. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to know how to code, but you need to be able to distinguish what are the real use cases for NFTs, like from the point of view of technology and from the point of view of culture. And when it comes to culture, we are like light years away ahead from these Web2 brands. They have no idea. I have to explain every time I give a talk to these brands. I have to explain what an NFT is, like if they had like 5 years old. And I think that there is something that eventually the people that keep persistent and build like good professional relationships and a good team around, just like Angeliki pointed out, are going to thrive. It's just a matter of time.
Well, I do have a mic, but I don't want to actually drop it. So I'm going to use my pen instead. I'm just going to sit over here, pretend I'm Quantic, drop my mic right on the table, walk away in style. Love this conversation. Love this conversation. I have a couple of burning questions right off the bat. I was hoping you can kind of dive a little bit more into the concept of the culture. And I'm trying to think here, the best way to frame this question. I guess how would you recommend any of us might start by reaching out to somebody in Web2, introducing them this technology and offering your services in a way that might be applicable to them? Like how would one even kind of begin that process, and what would be a good way to do it? Any insights into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have thought a lot about this because actually it's a niche that we could cover with our project. Essentially, what I would do is to start posting content on LinkedIn, which is where all of these businesses are. I know that some people don't like that, but it's where your target audience is, and you have to go to the platform where they are, right? And start posting content that shows that you know about this subject, that you are certified, you have experience, and that you have ideas. And then you can try to do some cold reach or cold emails and see what happens. But I would say that also another important thing would be to highlight like your traditional Web2 experience. In a lot of these programs that I have participated, I have not been taken into consideration simply because I don't have like a corporate or Web2 background, right? I'm a scientist. I come from academia. It's not the same as industry. So, for instance, in your case, guys, if you have any sort of Web2 background in whatever, marketing, sales, project management, highlight that as well.
Web2 corporate marketing experience. Writing that down as we speak. Amazing, tangible, actionable, amazing way to start. Angeliki, I'm going to send the mic back over to you.
This will be the last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to bounce, and it will make me sad to leave. But it's very important to have your LinkedIn profile. I would create a website for yourself, or a link tree that takes you to your LinkedIn and your website. Also, when you approach companies, use other successful Web2 companies in the market that have taken this route. Highlight how this has benefited them, how this has benefited them from a marketing perspective, connected them to fans, community, whatever it may be, how they would get direct royalties, increase revenue, all of that, and use that as an example to try and sell it to Web2 companies. Make sure that your Web2 companies don't understand the image we have of GM fooling around on Twitter or whatever it may be. Make sure you have a profile, a website that you could send them to just showcase, like LinkedIn, as you were saying, just showcase what this could do for them. Make them imagine, make them have foresight on the space. I wouldn't even use the word NFT. I would try and reword it all completely, sell it to them as something that you would sell it in Web 2, but using Web 3 marketing strategies. And I'm going to love and leave you guys.
Oh, well, where to even begin? First of all, Angeliki, thank you so much for taking this time. Like, you've I'm speechless, honestly. The fact that you would just take that time out to come hang out with us today just honestly means so much and really validates what Quantic and I are trying to do here. So thank you so much. Enjoy your crab. Have a blast. Definitely, we're taking all of this information forward, and I'm excited to kind of share it with the rest of the world here. So once again, you've added so much value. I really appreciate your time. Quantic, I want to give it back over to you. I'm loving your takes, and I'd love to hear your reaction to what Angeliki just brought to us today.
Yes, thank you, Angeliki. Bye bye. We love you so much. You always bring so much value. I'm not sure if she's listening, but at least it's going to be on the recording. And yeah, one thing that you mentioned, which I think is good to point out at this time, why are we doing this, Trap, right? We're doing this. We started this series of spaces about Web3 matters because we truly believe that Web3 matters and is going to produce a significant impact in society. How? Through decentralization, through internet culture 3.0, if you want to call it. And we encourage everybody that is listening to this space to try to participate in Web3, try to contribute from your own point of view. Today, I was tweeting about I saw someone that said, okay, nobody cares about my opinion about this project, but I'm going to give it anyway. And the opinion was super valuable. So I think that this is one of the spaces in which there is very few people. And although you don't notice that, you are already so advanced. If you are already buying crypto, using more than one wallet, minting NFTs, that's not what regular folks know how to do. So leverage that and try to build your personal brand, your professional portfolio, and try to connect with others as well. So I invite you, everybody that is here, to try to follow each other. You're only going to win connections. Of course, if you follow me and Trap, we're going to follow you back 100%. And yeah, just that, like sharing these good vibes, this nice perspective. And we want you guys to also take this space for you. We want to listen to you. We want to know what do you have to say, what are your experience, because in the end, Web3 matters because it's a space in which we are all welcome and we are all creating this space. And with this message, I just wanted to leave maybe Bruce or Kratos, which joined to speak with us. How are you doing, guys?
Okay, I'm fine. Good day, everyone. Good evening from my end. Okay, this is actually an amazing space. It's actually, I actually love the topic, going full time into Web3. Now, one thing you have to understand is that um, the job you have in Web2 will determine if you can go full time in Web3. Now, you can actually have a very taxing job, a very taxing Web2 job. So the possibilities of going full time into Web3 will be very, very slim. But in my own aspect, I'm actually a student. So I'm full time into Web3. When I started cryptocurrency, when I got to know about cryptocurrency late 2020, and I started investing in it, and I was actually losing money because I was actually dumb. I didn't really know what I was putting my money into, but I just had friends that was telling me, yeah, buy this thing, your money will do times two. I was like, okay, fine. I'll just buy it. So I bought it, and since I didn't really understand how this stuff works, and it was actually my pocket money I was getting from my parents. So I was supposed to use that money on myself, and I was putting it where I don't understand. So I sold what I was holding, and I think I sold at 80% or so. I had just 20% to myself. So it was after my first crypto breakthrough. That was when fake token was launched. I bought with, I think, with $10, and I had over $500. I was like, wow. Okay, now the possibilities of this thing are actually manifesting. Okay, I think it's time I just have to learn it full time, like going full time into it, because I'm actually Nigerian, and I don't know if it actually plays in everywhere in the world, but getting jobs like getting a Web2 kind of job is actually very, very hard. And each and every year, thousands of people graduate from the universities, and it's hard for them to get a job. So the possibilities that your own opportunity to get a job is very slim. So if you can actually start pitching out ways to make money leveraging the internet, I think that's actually something I do. So I was like, okay, fine. I but without, I think I had some sort of a beginner's luck making using $10, making $500, and I lost it because I was still dumb. I thought I could just do it myself. I thought I could do everything myself, and I didn't see a need of learning from people or paying for classes and the rest. So, and I blew the $500. So at some point I was like, okay, fine, I'll blow this $500, and yeah, I don't really get much pocket money. So how am I going to? What should I do to generate revenue to go back into trading? I was like, okay. Then I used to remember people used to say they'll pay people to use Discord, Telegram. I was like, maybe I should just check it out. So that day I created a Telegram account with the name Satoshi Shilla. So in my head, I wanted to start shilling projects. I didn't even understand the concept of shilling or what I need to know. I was literally going into it. So I joined the group, and a guy DM'd me and said, "Come on," because I actually joined the group. I joined a particular project, and somebody was asking dumb questions like, "How can I buy this project?" The questions were actually dumb. So I was actually assisting the guy saying, okay, first you have to download Trust Wallet or MetaMask, buy BNB from Binance, and I was actually just making this process so explain as though I was paid to work as a moderator for the project, with no other like I didn't have any like second thought of having some sort of benefit from anybody. So I was literally just telling the guy, okay, this is how you have to go about it. So a guy DM'd me, I was like, I actually love what you're doing. Come and work in my community. I thought it was a scam. I was like, okay, fine. So I actually worked with the guy, and he sent me someone. I was like, wow, just like that. I worked as a community manager, and he sent me someone. I was like, wow. So I started putting more effort. I was like, okay, fine. This is actually another way to earn money. So that means I have to skill up. So I started learning, started understanding what community management is all about. Started taking courses, started watching YouTube videos, started um connecting with people as well. And from there, I do get one or two jobs. And from there, I was generating revenue to not just fund the crypto aspect of my life, but also in my academics. So this Web3 actually gave me a good opportunity as a student. Till date, Web3 is funding some aspect of my life, like rent, feeding, and the rest. It's all coming from Web3, and it's something that I cannot leave, like because I'm not even thinking of saying after graduating from school I have to go and work for somebody or whatsoever. No matter how tough it is, like I've had wallet hacks, I've been down to $0, but miraculously I've put in more effort and I've gotten myself back up. So like it's the opportunity in Web3 is just too much, and it takes and it's actually good to see that if you're a young person, you can actually just leave Web2 to Web3. But if you are actually some kind of like an age person, there are possibilities actually, but yeah, you can actually find it very taxing, but there are lots of opportunities. But it actually depends on the person, and also seeing that Web3 gives you this opportunity to earn money. All my life, I've not done anything hard. I've not done any hard job or whatsoever, but I've been earning money. And 2022, yeah, 2022, I had one project that paid me over $1,500. Working as a community manager, I didn't stress myself. It was just replying messages, making sure everything is in place, and so on and so forth. Now, this was something I started without any knowledge. I never paid anybody to teach me how to be a community manager. I think watch video courses, but they were actually all free. Go to YouTube, go to Google, learn from other people as well. But it was actually just free. I never paid for any courses. So when I see people say, I actually don't have money to pay for these courses to understand what this entails, I'll just be like, I think you're actually unserious about it, because if you find yourself in a situation where you have to make the money, or you have to make the money and you have to make it the right way, I think you're going to put your all into it. Like there are informations everywhere, and in this current age where information is everywhere, just go to Google, search how to be a community manager. You find thousands and thousands of answers to your question. So ignorance is not Ignorance is not an excuse at this particular point. So so I don't really know what much to say again, but I think that's actually my own side of the story, and it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey, and seeing the opportunities Web3 has presented to me. Even if I lose money through Web3, I still stick here because I know it goes beyond that. And I'm not just sticking around to make the money, although I need the money here, but also connecting with people and also in turn making creating a solution through this technology that's presented itself to us. So yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and this is an amazing space. Thank you, and thank you for the follow. I really appreciate.
Absolutely, man. Wow. Ignorance isn't an excuse. I love that expression, and 100% correct. And so much value in that is like Angeliki was saying as well, like you're saying, Kratos, is that all of the information that we need to get started is right at our fingertips. All of the information that we need to be able to push ourselves to the next level is at our fingertips. Awesome. I'm really happy that you brought that to the table. Also, your journey. Yeah, I think it basically we might be actually the same person because I pretty much took the exact same journey that you did, starting off in trading, making a big win off the last little bull run that we had, losing it all, and then kind of teaching myself how to become a community manager, basically on the job training, doing the research, doing all of that. I think that's a story as old as time, which is ironic because we haven't been here very long, but definitely one that everyone can relate with, I'm sure, on some level. Appreciate you sharing that with us, Kratos. And honestly, my friend, I wish you a ton of luck in your journey. You're doing all the right things. You've got amazing, inquisitive mind. The passion is there. Keep it up, my friend. And I'm really happy that you connected with us. Please keep in touch. This is, we all want to make it here. And that's exactly why we're here today. Like Quantic was saying, is we all want to grow. We all want to evolve. We all want to make it in this space because this space has a ton of value to provide. So I appreciate your take. All right. Yeah. Quantic, you had mentioned that you want to hear Bruce's take as well. So Bruce, I'm going to send you the mic if you feel like talking here. Love to hear from you, my friend. Love to hear your experiences and your take on all this.
Thanks, Trav. Can everybody hear me?
Clear as day, my friend. We got you.
Okay, cool. Just put in my my headphones. So yeah, kind of I know everybody has their own unique individual experience when we're talking about trying to go from Web 2 to full-time Web 3. But for me, and I think this, like I said, this kind of everybody's going to, uniquely relate to this in one way or the other, but it's impossible for almost everybody to drop their Web 2 or their IRL job and then just to jump into Web 3 full-time because you have to have the capital, or maybe you have money saved, or maybe you're living at home with your parents or maybe with some family members, and you won't have to worry about rent and other expenses. Because if you are out on your own, like most young adults, it's really hard to just drop what you're doing and jump into Web3 full time, especially if you have no experience. So what most of us do, and what I did, was I still to this day, I am just like Trav and Quant. I'm part-time Web3. And I still do my full-time IRL job, which is, as some of you know, I'm a basketball trainer. So I do like one-on-one skill development with kids as young as 5 up to middle school, high school, and I even train some college and professional guys that play overseas. I have one guy who plays professionally in Greece. He comes to America every summer. I train him during the summer months. And anyway, that's beside the point. So actually, that does relate because I'm still doing that every day. But now, to eventually make the pivot to Web3 full-time, I'm cutting out, or I'm carving out is the better way to say it, anywhere from, depending on my daily schedule, 1 to 5 hours to focus on my project Creepy Creatures. Because if I don't start now, which was 18 months ago when I started, there'd be no way that I would be about 2 months away from launching the project. So if I had to give advice for anybody that's looking to, whether you're going to be a founder or whether, like Trav and Quant said, whether you're trying to become a moderator, or like Angeliki also said, you got to jump in, get your feet wet, whether it's a community moderator or you're just doing some very simple, tasks to try to show the founder of whatever project you're interested in that you're willing to work. It's kind of like an internship almost, like in the real world. And you just need to learn and experience this space, because when I first found out about Web3 like 20 months ago, I was kind of baffled, like, how is this JPEG worth, $30,000? Like, what's going on here? It took me a whole month to kind of wrap my head around it. And then after I kind of knew the basics of what was going on in the space, then, like some of I talked to my dad and kind of he's the artist of my project. And I kind of like brainstormed with him and we, decided to start working on a project. So my advice for anyone who's looking to try to go Web3 full time would be, if you have an idea and if you're passionate about it and you want to pursue that and not be stuck in the traditional 9 to 5, Web2 based world, write everything down, get it on paper and just build it. And whether that means, taking the ideas or forming those ideas with another person that you really, you click with, or let's say you have a family member or a friend who wants to provide capital to help build up your company, whatever it may be, you just have to start it. And it's kind of like a very, not scary, but it's kind of like a weird thing to kind of step out into the unknown of like, well, I'm comfortable. I'm making a decent living doing my Web2 job. For most people, that's what they would say. In my instance, I do pretty well for myself. I'm not rich by any sense, but like I love my work and I really love training kids and helping and adults getting them better at the sport that they love. So in a perfect world, as my project gets closer and closer to launch and we launch, and if it's successful, I'm probably not going to drop my basketball training full time. I'll still probably keep like a handful of kids or players that like the pro guys that come over in the summer. I'll still train them, but I really don't want to have to, even though I love my job, I don't want to have to in 5 or 10 years be, going around my city's radius and like training kids, nonstop just to, pay my rent and, provide a good life for my family. Even though I love what I do, I feel like making that pivot to Web3 where I can really be a true master of my time, even though I am self-employed, like you can really make your life the exact way you want if you can pivot to Web3 and be a true controller of everything in your universe, especially if you are really good at what you do. So everyone can't be a founder. Everyone can't be a moderator. Take advantage of the skill sets that you have. If you're a good communicator, use that to your advantage. If you have a great imagination, maybe think about, maybe you want to found something, or maybe you want to be if you're really good at marketing, then go that route. So just try to find the thing or the skill or a couple of skills that you're really, really good at and try to turn that into a Web3 job. If that's what you want to do, like nobody can tell you what your dreams are besides you. So just try to figure out a plan and, attack it with all the passion that you have in your heart and your mind. And I think if that's a good starting point for you, then that'll kind of help you take the first baby steps into going Web3 full time.
Once again, Bruce, I'm just going to take my pen here, pretend it's a mic, drop it on the desk and walk away in style. On your behalf, of course, because that was fantastic. It's again, trying to just grasp everything that you said and find the words to express, the appreciation for what you just said here. So many good takeaways. The first thing first being actually taking action. I've actually been talking to a lot of people in this space recently about that sensation we can get of just being overwhelmed by all the opportunity that we hear is in the space, and many of us even do see. There's so many different avenues. There's so many different pathways to success. An amazing place to start is by prioritizing what you have to contribute, what makes you happy to contribute, and then the skills that you already have. Basically, all of these things will just not guarantee that you will succeed, but maximize that you will exceed. They will maximize those odds if we're looking at it from a trading perspective, which we definitely don't have to here. But a lot of amazing points here. One takeaway as well that I took is, I loved how you started talking about working in real life in Web 2 and how to balance that with working in Web 3. It's hard. You have to actually make that extra time commitment up above and beyond the work that you're doing. A lot of people have families as well who are in this space. Actually, most of the people who I've come to make good friends with also have families. They are putting in the extra work. They are cutting costs at home. They are kind of trying to find a balance between hours put into working Web 2 and Web 3. It's not easy. But it also sounds like the benefits are there. And and the potential is there to drastically improve your life by pursuing the Web3 route. And it's important to keep that into perspective. I also loved how you said that everyone can't be everything. And also I enjoy, and it's also important to highlight on the fact that you have to be realistic with the expectations that you set for yourself. If you have a lot of people on your side who are, you are responsible for, you are supporting, you have to put that into your equation as well when you're considering making the leap to Web3 full time. In the end, I think it's important that we realize that there's a lot of parallels in Web 2 where you're just basically starting off on your own, jumping into the void and trying to make your own personal business, your own personal brand, or your own new position work for many people on an entirely different path here. So lots to take away from there. Quantic, any feedback or reflections on everything that we've been speaking about for now?
Yeah, I think that Bruce mentioned something that I totally support, but I'm gonna kind of reframe it from a practical point of view. So when you do something here in Web3, of course, you are taking a lot of your time, effort, and it might fail, right? You can launch a project and it might fail and might not sell out or whatever. So it's also very important for all of us to have not only manage the expectations, but rather to try to take advantage of the journey itself. Like when I started founding Right NFT, I didn't knew about business. I didn't knew about running a community. I didn't knew so many things that after 1 year I do know, and they position me in a much better way than I was 1 year ago. That even if nothing works, I still have, I am much more strong from a point of view of professional, right? And I think that is very important also at that personal level, also, dealing with emotions, dealing with pressure, dealing with frustration. That's an amazing journey. So yeah, just wanted to add that. And if anybody here is, thinking about launching their own project or starting their own journey, just hit me and Trav DM, and we can have a chat. We can try to help you make connections. Whatever we can do, we will do it, because that's why we are here, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And I'll just second that. Our DMs are always open. We are here because we want to help you. And full disclosure, helping you is going to help us as well. We're going to learn some new perspectives. We're going to gain more experience in this space. So I'm saying that just as a way to just, let you know that the offer is genuine. So please reach out. Please feel free. We're here. I'd also like to take a second and just acknowledge a couple other legends who we have in the space with us. Jay Toits, truly appreciate you being here with us. The Open Chain, pleasure as always. Hipster Roboto, I've said hello before, but I just want to acknowledge you one more time. Just awesome having you here, my friend. Guy1, love that you're here, my friend. Wish you all the best. ISG Metaverse, pleasure having you with us. Batasi, I'm not sure if I said that right, but really appreciate you being here. Procreator is an absolute legend, always putting out stellar content on the daily to help you just become a better human. So appreciate you being here, my friend. Blockchain Webba, also just, I feel like we've been chatting a little bit more these days, and your takes are always extremely valuable. So thank you so much for joining us. And then Mr. Dumb-O-Matic, I love your name. I've given you a follow. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Hopefully we can get to know you a little bit more. And then Arena, I've also dropped you a follow here as well. So thank you so much for joining us. All right, we are nearing the end of our conversation from a time perspective. We got about 15 more minutes before we typically end our spaces. I just want to actually, I want to give the mic to you, Quantic, to see if there were any other topics you wanted to dig in here. And then after we've kind of discussed that, open the floor to anyone. If you have any more experience, if you have any more questions you want to talk about, anything you want clarification on, let's end this right. So Quantic, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Trav. I think that from my side, we are pretty much covered. We have had a great discussion. We learned a lot. We know now how to proceed what are the red flags in projects, how to get started. So I would actually ask to our dear audience here if anybody want to jump here on a stage and share maybe their experience. We have a couple of minutes to spare, so it would be amazing if you can. If you don't feel like it, don't worry. We will be here every single Friday with Web3 Matters, and we will be discussing different topics. I don't know what are we going to discuss next week, but it will always be about something that can provide value, education, and of course, entertainment to each one of you. So, other than saying thank you very much for joining, I don't have anything else to add.
Awesome, Quantic. Excuse me. I'm right there with you. While we're waiting for, while we're waiting to see if anyone else wants to just jump up and share their experiences with us. I also just kind of want to highlight one of the things I appreciated about this space is we've had some really amazing takes from people who have come to approach the pursuit of going full time on Web3 from many unique different ways. And they've kind of highlighted different routes that are tangible to actually achieve this accomplishment of going full time in Web3. We spoke to someone who started off in trading, who got into community management and right away kind of did the grinding jobs to grow their network, to expand. We've spoken with Cyberspace Punk, who came about it from more of a corporate perspective, who came in through copywriting as a freelancer, if I'm not mistaken, and gave us some amazing insights on how to break into the market from that perspective, which is extremely unique from my own perspective. I've never even considered coming at it from that route. So I personally gained a ton from that. We've gained perspective from a marketing aspect. Again, another very professional approach from Angeliki, who explained to us many tangible ways of being basically a middleman between Web 2 and Web 3 and how we can get started on that, and actionable advice on, making a professional profile, creating our own website, and then marketing ourselves and marketing Web 3 to Web 2 and effective ways to do that. And then finally, from you, Bruce, we gained some amazing perspective on how to actually get started from the perspective of a project founder. And I am very much appreciative of, everything that you shared with us in respect to coming up with an idea and then how to actually move forward with that idea, which is extremely valuable, especially from the sense that, you're not able to do this 100% full time. So you're juggling so many other things in your life. And I think that really resonates with a lot of us. So once again, I'm absolutely dumbfounded by how incredible this space has been. Paulo was supposed to show up with us today. I've been speaking with him in DMs. He sends his apologies that he couldn't make it. He's just, life has kind of gotten out of hand, which it tends to do. But there's never any stress from our perspective. I'm loving that we have been able to just have such amazing roundtables when it comes to discussing things, and just naturally all of this value is seemingly teased out from our community of just all of you amazing people who we've kind of we're starting to grow here. So let's keep at this. I don't see anyone else asking for an invitation to speak. So I'm going to take the initiative and start wrapping this up. I will give all of our speakers one last opportunity to kind of say their final piece. So feel free to raise your hand and we'll get you up here. And if not, I'll pass the mic over to you, Quantic, one more time and kind of give you the last take here. All right. Yeah, Quantic, all yours, my friend.
It seems that people are satisfied. I love that. And, just to wish you all the best day. And, stay tuned because we are going to be doing this each week. We're trying to bring people with a lot of knowledge about different topics in Web3, DAOs, cryptocurrency, investing, NFTs, of course. So if you want to be featured as guests or you want us to bring someone, please reach out to us. Our DMs are always open. and let's fucking grow, right? This is why we are doing this. We all want to grow. We all want to contribute to Web3. We want to make new connections, new friends, and improve. So let's do that together by supporting each other. And thank you very much, guys. Peace.
I will mirror that. I'm fired up. Way to end this amazing space. Just a bit of a teaser. I'm not sure if it'll be next week or 1 week soon, but I would like to have a conversation on more details on trading. So I'll just kind of dangle that out there as a little bit of a teaser for future spaces here. But thanks again, everyone. This has been absolutely incredible as per usual. Looking forward to our next one next week. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys all out on Twitter and connecting and growing with you guys. So much love. Thank you guys so much. Signing off. I'll chat with you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody. Glad you guys all came. See you.